Magandang hapon, Malacanang Press Corps. Narito si Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Unang-una, I suppose you've heard, nag-issue na po kami ng announcement na ang trabaho at saka pasok sa lahat ng level in the public sector ay suspendido na po today and tomorrow. Sa pribadong sektor, base yun dun sa discretion ng employers. Okay. Pero rekomendado na isuspindi na rin. Bukod pa dito, kanina nag-cabinet meeting kami ng alas 9 ng umaga. Ang nag-report po ng priority programs and projects ang Department of Migrant Workers at saka Department of Labor and Employment. Sa Department of Migrant Workers, nagpresenta po sila ng mga plano ukol dun sa repatriation, digitalization, negotiations, these are bilateral labor agreements, programs for OFW kids, reintegration of OFWs, scholarships, protection, and health. Para naman sa Department of Labor and Employment, nagpresenta ng context, mandate, structure, and role in the socio-economic agenda, program priorities and strategic linkages, at saka ways forward. They will discuss the details later on, possibly next week, for the specifics of their plans and programs. Ngayong araw na ito, kasama namin para magpresenta ng kanilang programa, si DILG Secretary Benhar Abalos, DOJ Secretary, pwede bang nickname na lang, Boying Remulla. Nagpaalam muna ako, syempre. DSWD Secretary, andito si Sir Erwin Tulfo, Chief PNP General Rodolfo Asurin Jr., NBI Chief Medardo de Lemos, Homeland Ricardo Navalta, our UN Envoy, Mrs. Nikki Teodoro. And of course, cheatmate ko, Secretary Ivan John Uy of the DICT. Muntik na. Thank you, Secretary. Okay, for the opening presentation will be our Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, Secretary Benhar Abalos.
Maraming salamat, Secretary Trixie, at magandang hapon po sa lahat ng mga nanonood and of course sa ating mga media partners. No? Kaya ho kami nagkaroon ngayon ng joint press con. Kung titignan nyo, ito'y interagency. Ito'y talagang pagkakaisa ng gobyerno laban dito sa cyber pornography or exploitation of children. No? Dahil hindi maganda ang nangyayari rito at in fact, yung record ng Pilipinas ay hindi maganda sa buong mundo. Ano ba itong online exploitation of children? No? Ano itong mga batas na ito? Dalawa po iyan. Ito yung Republic Act number 9775 o yung Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009 at ito yung Republic Act number 92008 o yung Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. No? So dalawang batas ang ating pagbabasihan dito. Next please. So anong ibig sabihin ng online sexual exploitation of children? Kung titignan natin ang batas, primarily ito'y production, no? Just the mere production for the purpose of online publication of sexual abuse or exploitation of a minor, no? In exchange for compensation. So ito yung sinasabi natin online sexual exploitation. On the other hand, ano naman ibig sabihin ng child pornography? Any representation, visual, audio, or written, combination thereof of electronic, mechanical, digital, optical, magnetic, etc., of child engaged or involved in real or simulated explicit sexual activity. No? So naka-define po lahat ito. Sumunod, tignan natin anong pagkakaiba nitong online sexual exploitation of children against child pornography law. So yung isa, yung online sexual, pinoprohibit ang sexual exploitation, act of exploitation, and when victim is a child, no threat, force or coercion, basta bata ito. Hindi mo na kailangan takutin pa o coerce. So ako'y nananawagan sa lahat, nakasabi sa batas, basta ito'y bata. Hindi mo na kailangan takutin pa. Need to be proven. Only the fact of exploitation. Yun lang kailangan. Ano naman yung child pornography? Ang pinoprohibit dito ang media itself. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Any act related to the creation or production, sale, or distribution, broadcast, or promotion, use, or possession of child pornography. So, klaro na po sa atin, no? Ito'y talaga para proteksyonan ang mga bata laban sa exploitation at as child pornography. Ngayon, ang tanong rito, ano ba mga data natin sa trafficking of persons? Next, please. Ito ang mga data natin ngayon mula 2017 hanggang 2022. Diyan po nakasaad ang operation conducted, ang number of cases filed, ang under investigation, and of course, number of convicted persons. Next, please. Ito namang sumunod na data ay yung data sa child pornography magmula 2016 hanggang 2022. So kung titignan ninyo, out of 103 cases, ang na-file ay 67, ang nasarado ay 3 sa kasong ito. No? Next, please. Bakit importante ito? Bakit ganong kahalaga na makikita ninyo halos lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno, no, na may kinalaman talaga sa hustisya nandirito ngayon? Pati of course si Ma'am Nikki sa United Nations. Napaka-importante nito dahil ito ang epekto sa mga bata. No? Kasi iniisip nila, camera lang yan. Sabi nga kanina sa akin ni Sec Erwin, yung iba pinapakita, walang ulo, but then, matindi ang epekto sa bata nito. At ito nakalagay rito, aside from the fact that it violates the rights of the children, of course, marami pang iba. Feeling of shame, unworthiness, etc. Withdrawal and isolation, marami po epekto ito. Next, please. So ngayon, ano ang initiatives ng PNP laban sa child pornography? So, bukod sa ginagawa nila mga investigasyon, mga panguhuli, pagpa-file ng kaso, sila ay meron silang cooperation now with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, yung mga aling police program, MOA sa iba-ibang and conduct of lectures, etc. Ano naman ang initiatives ng DILG laban sa trafficking in persons and child pornography? Nakasaad po lahat yan. Bukod doon sa, tandaan nyo, ang DILG ay kasama namin ng kapulisahan po rito, no? So, bukod dito ay meron din kaming iniimbestigahan lahat, pinafalang kaso, meron din kaming mga cooperations sa ibang interagency. No? Next, please. So, ano ang mga rekomendasyon na gagawin pa at dapat pa naming gawin? Of course, kailangan pag-iktingan natin, kaya andito si Secretary Ivan Uy, dahil ito'y kakaiba, ito'y technical. No? Kailangan mag-procure kami. Titignan namin anong benchmark namin, kung okay na ba kami ngayon, no? Okay na ba? O kailangan pa bang gandahan pa namin itong software namin para sa online investigation namin? Of course, yung koordinasyon sa mga local government units, no? Capacity building hanggang barangay level. Dapat katulong natin ang mga tao sa ibaba rito. Hindi po pwede itong mas magiging maganda ang resulta kung tulong-tulong ang bawat isa. Lahat po ito, nilagay ko na lang dito, no? At andyan po mga rekomendasyon namin. Pasensya na at marami pa hong magsasalita. Ang gusto ko lang sabihin ay makikita nyo, ano kami kaseryoso rito, ganong kadami ang ahensyang lalabang po rito. Tulungan nyo po kami rito. Maraming salamat po.
Next to speak, Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Isa pong maulan na hapon, ngunit tuloy po ang trabaho nating lahat. Kasama ko po ngayon ang aking mga kasama sa kabinete, Secretary Erwin Tulfo, Secretary Benher Abalos, Secretary Trixie Angeles, Secretary Ivan Uy, at ang inyong lingkod. Kasama rin po natin dito ang author ng Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, si Special Envoy Nikki Chodoro, nakasama ko noon sa Kongreso. At ngayon ay kasama rin natin dito sa bulwagang ito ang Chief ng Philippine National Police, Chief Azurin, at ang NBI Chief natin, National Bureau of Investigation Chief, Luigi de Lemos. At marami pa ho kami ritong iba pang kasama at kasama ang Homeland mula sa Amerika. Ang layunin po namin dito upang kaya nagsama-sama rito ay upang iparamdam sa mamamayan natin ang pangangailangang sugpuin natin ang mga krimen na ginagawa sa ating kabataan sa pamamagitan ng internet at sa pamamagitan mismo ng face-to-face na pangyayari, at ito po ay karumal-dumal na krimen na ginagawa sa ating kabataan. At ang pagsama po sa amin dito ng law enforcement agencies natin ay isa lang pong hudyat na talagang hindi ho talaga tayo papayag na manatili itong ganito sa ating bansa, sapagkat hindi nyo na itatanong marahil napakasakit aminin, ngunit tayo po ang nangunguna sa buong mundo dito sa larangang ito ng exploitation of children, no? Sexual exploitation of children. At dapat ho tumigil na to. At ang aming pagkasama dito ay isa hong pakiusap rin sa inyong lahat na makiisa kayo sa ating gobyerno sa pagsugpo ng karumal-dumal na krimen na nasasakop sa mga gawaing ito laban sa ating kabataan. At yung po, sana po ay makiisa kayo sa amin dito, at marami ho ritong kailangan makiisa ang internet service providers, ang telcos, ay sana ay makiisa rin po sa ating lahat. Kasama rin ho rito ang mga malalaking kumpanya ng internet na dapat makiisa, na wag na hong panitiliin ang ganitong gawain, at sila po ay wag ho silang papagamit sa mga ganitong karumal-dumal na gawain. At hindi lang po yan. At marami pa hong mga taong kinakailangan managot sa ganitong gawain. Marami hong sa mga pangyayaring ito ay kasabwat ang mga magulang ng mga bata, na minsan sinasabing wala naman daw sakit na nangyayari sa bata. Hindi po ganon. Ang ideya mismo nito ay napakasama, at hindi dapat ito pabayaang manatili sa ating lipunan. Mamaya naman po ako masasagot ng mga tanong. Ngunit ang presence po dito ng NBI at PNP, na kasama po namin lahat dito, ay isa pong talagang senyales na isang malaking pagtugon ito sa hamon ng online sexual exploitation of children at saka exploitation of children proper mismo. Kasama ko ho rito marahil pwede na ho natin si Secretary Erwin Tulfo para siya naman po ang magsalita dito. Maraming salamat po.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Marahil na nagtataka ho kayo, meron tayong bisita. We have a visitor from the United States Embassy, the Homeland Security. Katuwang po namin sila. They will be helping us monitoring. Kung lingid po sa kaalaman ho ninyo, pag pumunta ka sa isang website about sa mga bata, yung mga pedophiles sa overseas, makikita nyo ho doon na karamihan ng mga bata, bagamat walang mga mukha, tinatakpan, biniblur, pero pinagsasayaw-sayang hubot-hubad yung bata. Ang mga kumukuha pa, unfortunately, the videos are being taken by their own parents at ibinibenta. Now, these pedophiles overseas, tuwan-tuwa naman ho, mabenta yung mga batang Pilipino sa mga foreigners. And that's why we have this visitor from the United States who will be helping us also monitor and track. Kasi yung iba, hindi lang ho sa video natutuwa, ay pupunta pa ho dito, mga foreigner, magpapanggap na turista. Kaya iyan ho, kasama ho natin, they can track, tinatrack ho nila. Hindi lang po from the United States, but Australia and European countries. Tama ho sinabi ni Secretary Abalos, malala ho ang problema. Number 1 po tayo. Number 1, sa child pornography ang Pilipinas. Ito po yung pinaka-source. The reason is because of poverty siguro. At ang reason din ng mga magulang sa mga social worker namin hindi naman ho nakikita yung mukha ng bata eh. Hindi naman ho sila nasasaktan, hindi naman ho sila nagagahasa. Pero yung psychological effect po noon sa bata is different at tatatak po buong buhay niya. Paliguan nga lang yung bata ng nanay sa labas ng bahay, mga batang paslit, 6, 7 years old, kahit nakapanty lang, hiyang-hiya po yung bata eh. How much more nakukunan ng video? And a measly what? Ang bayad po minsan 10,000, 5,000. Tapos hindi naman ho napupunta sa bata yon. Iyon ho yung masakit ho doon. Kaya we have to join forces, the ILG, the NBI, ang DICT, kasi nga po pornography o ito worldwide sa pamagitan po ng internet. Kaya nga we need all the help. At panghuli na lamang po, before I pass this mic to the DICT Secretary, makiusap lang ho ako sa mga magulang. Mga sir, mga ma'am, hindi nga po nahahawakan yung anak nyo. Hindi nga po kilala ng mga dayuhan na pinapanood yung anak nyo na hubot-hubad. Pero yung impact po noon sa anak ho ninyo. Paano na lang ho kung kayo mismo, nung bata kayo, pinaghubot-hubad na magulang nyo at pinagsayaw-sayaw dyan? Hindi ho ba masama din sa loob ho ninyo? Yang anak ho ninyo ay hindi po yung kasangkapan para kumita. Yes po, mahirap po kayo. Gusto nyo itawid yung inyong buhay. Pero hindi po yung bata, not the child to make money for you and your family. Itigil ho nun natin yan. Kasi pangalawa, pag nahuli po kayo, kaso po ang abutin nyo. Labag sa batas. Kulong po yan. Number 2, yung bata ho, aalagaan na ho ng gobyerno at hindi na ho ninyo makikita yan hanggang sa lumaki. For example, kung yung anak nyo ay 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, nahuli po kayo, kustodiya po ng gobyerno namin ho yan. Kami ho, mga ngalaga ho dyan, yung CWC namin, will take care of your children. Pag-aaralin namin yan, we will send them to school, feed them, clothe them. Kasi hindi naman ho ninyo kaya palang alagaan yan. Pinagkakitaan lang ho ninyong anak ninyo. Sa pakiusap po namin, bago po huli ang lahat, bago ho kayo makulong, mahuli, makulong, kukunin din ho namin yung anak ho ninyo, mapapawalay po sa inyo. Iyan lang ho. Maraming salamat and good afternoon.
Next speaker, DICT Secretary Ivan Uy.
Magandang hapon po. Kami po sa DICT, together with yung attached agency namin, Cybercrime Investigation Coordinating Council, are extensively cooperating with our law enforcement agencies to provide them with all the resources that they need in order to go after itong criminal activity nito. As explained ng mga previous secretaries po natin, talamak po ito at dahil napakadali pong gamitin ito online, malaki yung marketing at malaki yung customer base nila. At dahil dito, talagang nagiging po tayo, center ng attention ng buong mundo. At ito po ay nakakahiya at nakakaawa po sa ating mga kabataan. Eventually nababrand sila habang sila'y lumalaki. Yung trauma po ang sa kabataan. So since online ito, ang mga magulang gumagamit po ng internet upang mai-deliver itong mga videos at mga photos ng kanilang mga anak or kanilang mga kamag-anak. Ang iba ho kasi mga tito, tita or kahit ng mga kapitbahay na gumagawa po nito. At matetrace so namin kayo, no? So warning po na ibinigay ngayon ng ating mga ahensya ng law enforcement is criminal act po ito. At sabi ho ni Secretary Tulfo, makukulong po kayo at matatanggal, mahihiwalay kayo sa inyong mga anak na inabuso ninyo at tinanggalan nyo ng dignidad at ang gobyerno na po ang mag-aalaga sa kanila at magpapalaki sa kanila at hindi nyo na po makikita ang inyong mga anak. So, pasensya na po kung mahuli namin kayo. Marami pong paraan at once ma-zero in namin kayo, asan yung operations nyo, kasama rin ho kayo sa blacklisting as a child pornographer, as a child abuser sa buong mundo. Sa buong mundo. Kaya nandito po ang mga ibang ahensya ng mga gobyerno ng ibang bansa dahil international po ang crime na ito. Hindi ito local crime na kung ginawa nyo ito, dito lang kayo sa Pilipinas mamamarka. Markado po kayo sa buong mundo. At oras na mangyari yan, hindi ho kayo makakahanap ng trabaho, hindi kayo makaka-travel dahil every time na kukuha kayo ng passport, huhulihin rin ho kayo kahit nasa ang mundo, parte ng mundo kayong pumunta. Iba ho ang level ng criminal act na ito. Hindi ho domestic ito, international. So kung akala nyo po, kikita kayo ng kaunti dahil sa itong pang-aabuso nyo sa inyong sariling mga kamag-anak, sa inyong sariling mga anak. At yung konting kikitain nyo po, hindi ho siguro sapat upang mailigtas kayo sa kamay ng bakal ng ating mga ahensya ng gobyerno. At as I said po, i-risk nyo po ho ba na mabablacklist kayo sa buong mundo? Paano ho kung may intention kayo na mag-travel, may intention kayo na magtrabaho, mag-apply ng trabaho, at markado na po kayo. So, yan po ang kaseryoso ng itong offense na ito. Maraming salamat po.
Next speaker, Philippine Special Envoy to UN, Ms. Nikki Teodoro.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to congratulate this panel. It's absolutely amazing because second time ko na mag-serve dito. So this is the second president. The first president was PRRD and now PBBM, no? So this is a very fantastic group because it's united. And for the first time, let me explain. My job is to report in the UN anong nangyayari sa bansa natin. So now, I will be going there in September to announce that we're number 1 for child trafficking, online pornography. My bill, Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, that became a law, is something that has been modified because it's gotten so bad that we are actually number 1. Number 1 na po kami. In 2011, there was an Australian named Peter Scully who was actually torturing an 18-month-old baby by burning the body parts. Sinusunog yung body parts with candle wax. And then nagla-live streaming siya. At that time, 11 years ago, it was $10,000 per live streaming. So yung mga kliyente niya, big time, foreigners. And this went on until 2017. So he was arrested in 2014. He was put in CDO, but he was still doing his kalokohan in the jails. So we had to monitor that. And I monitored that with a group of cabinet members of PRRD. And he was finally arrested and charged, life imprisonment. He is the first to be charged life imprisonment because ang hiningi namin na dito siya ma-charge sa Pilipinas because he's hurting our children, our future. He has damaged our future. Those are the Filipino children that are being exploited. And as of 2022, it's up by over 280%. Why? Because it's easy to do. The children were locked up. Nakakuling mga bata kasama ng mga magulang, lola, tita, tito. So, may chance sila. Now, it's even cheaper. You can do it for 1,000 pesos. So, you can imagine how many sites are on right now that it's so easy to get on one site and then catch another site. Kung makuha man yung first site, may second site, may third site, may 100 sites after that. So, our job is so difficult. We need all of you to participate because they use all the IT, TV, the cell phones, the laptops. They use everything that cannot be traced because they use SIM cards. So we must also monitor and register their SIM cards and our biometrics because we have a problem kasi ngayon na yung mga foreigners, they don't need visas to come to our country. So it's very easy, pasok, labas, and they never get caught. They get Filipino counterparts to help them get the children, lure them with ice cream, and they come in because some of them are really street children that are not being monitored. Hindi sila monitor ng mga kamag-anak, nasa kalye lang sila. So, bibigyan sila ng candy, bibigyan sila ng pagkain, papasok naman sila sa bahay. At that point, they're literally already jailed. And they're made to do sex things para mabenta lang online. And now it's getting so much cheaper that we are number one. Now, isipin lang ninyo, kayo, media kayo, do you want me to tell that to the UN that we're number one for online pornography? Because I have to report. I will be reporting this in September to the UN. So, I'm very embarrassed. So I'm very proud of this team right now because this team is in sync. But we need the media, we need the social networking of everyone to stop this because it's so lucrative. It's $1 billion industry. Billion na makukuha nila. But once you get caught and charged, you are charged internationally. And that's my job to go to the UN and tell them our problems so they can help us, suggest to us how to help us. In fact, right now, UK National Crime Agency, NCA, and International Justice Mission, IJM, the Philippine law enforcement agencies are receiving training through advanced investigating workshops organized and coordinated by IGM, that's UK-based, and cooperative increasingly with financial services provided to investigate OCSEA cases. So we are getting international help. But the problem is it's not fast enough. It has to be faster. It has to be faster by our help, not by foreign help. We have to help ourselves because we are damaging the future of our beloved Philippines. So pakiusap lang sa inyo, kung ayaw ninyong masira ang bansa ninyo, you report the parents, you report anyone that is hurting our children. Or you are messing with the future, our future. Kami on the board, we're the generation protecting the next generation. So it's our job, all our jobs, to make sure we take care of the future of this country. Thank you and good afternoon po.
Next speaker, U.S. Homeland Security Attaché Ricardo Navalta.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank the President Marcos. I would like to also thank the cabinet members, secretaries here, all the panelists on here. It's I've been here in the Philippines for 4 years now, and this is a remarkable time. This is a remarkable group of panelists to bring together this kind of working group to combat child exploitation. It was very challenging hearing what she had to say because as the blood of a Filipino and an American-born citizen, I have a lot of hope for both the United States and the Philippines. We at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Investigations, we are fully behind the Philippines in combating child exploitation. We are here to develop best practices help develop programs to not only stop foreigners or from the U.S. or from other countries from coming into the country to have access to Filipino children, but also educating the population as well. There are a lot of programs that the United States has that we will provide information on and hopefully be able to educate the community, teachers, parents, everyone that we can. The United States has been in a memorandum of cooperation with the Philippine National Police since 2018. That cooperation is based on a transnational criminal investigative unit that we work together side by side to combat transnational crime, transnational sexual misconduct, and child exploitation. We currently are in the process of adding the National Bureau of Investigation, as well as many of the other agencies, Bureau of Customs, Bureau of Immigration, the DSWD, into this program in hopes that we can work together to reduce the number of cases that come from the U.S. and foreign countries. We also work alongside with our counterparts from all the different countries, such as the UK, Australia, the Aussies, all of them. We also do a lot of training with them in order to help facilitate and better prosecute these kind of offenders as well. So I'm very excited and I'm very proud to be included into this working group. And I look forward to hopefully a better choice of conversation at the UN for the improvements that we'll make with this panel. So thank you very much.
NBI Chief Director Medardo de Lemos.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Ang NBI po ang investigative arm ng Department of Justice. At sa pamumuno ng aming bagong secretary, sinabi po niya na ang priority cases, isa sa mga priority cases na dapat pagtuunan ng pansin ng NBI ang OSEC, Online Sexual Exploitation of Children. Nais naming iparating sa ating mga kababayan that since 2019, ang NBI po ay nakasecure ng 29 convictions sa OSEC cases. Meron po tayo, dahil ito nga ay online, meron din tayong iniimbestigahan na child pornography at since 2019, nagkaroon po tayo ng 46 active investigations sa child pornography. Ang mga initiatives po ng NBI ay nag-establish kami ng aming ATRAD, yung Anti-Human Trafficking Division sa ating headquarters dito sa Manila. At nagka-cluster din tayo ng ating mga human trafficking investigation groups in the 3 islands, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Nagkaroon din tayo ng mga designated contact persons pagdating sa online sexual human trafficking. Para malaman din ng karamihan, meron din tayong monitoring, online monitoring ng mga OSEC cases. At noon ngang July, naging resulta ng ating monitoring na ito, nagkaroon tayo ng isang successful operation sa Cebu. Kung ilang mga kabataang lalaki naman ang naging biktima ng OSEC cases na ito. Kami ay nakikipagtulungan sa lahat ng ahensya sa ating bansa, sa ating mga counterparts dito sa ating bansa at mga counterparts din natin sa ibang bansa na siyang nagbibigay din sa atin ng mga impormasyon tungkol dito sa mga OSEC cases. Tulungan din tayo sa ating mga payment centers kung saan pinapadala itong pera na bayad sa ating mga biktima. Kasi ang Pilipinas po ay ito ang mga biktima, hindi po tayo ang predators. Ang mga predators po ay nasa ibang bansa. At tinutulungan din tayo ng ating mga counterparts. Totoo po yun sa UK, sa Netherlands, sa US, tsaka sa Australia. Kaya tulad ng kahilingan natin dito, ng buong team na ito, kung meron din po kayo mga impormasyon na makakatulong para mapabilis ang investigasyon, meron po kaming hotline din sa NBI na maaaring tawagan. Maraming salamat po.
Next, Chief PNP General Rodolfo Azurin Jr.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. So in behalf po sa pamumuno po ng aming DILG Secretary, si Sec. Benhar Abalos, ang inyo pong kapulisan sa buong Pilipinas ay handa po na tumulong po sa atin pong adhikain na matigil na po ang mga child exploitation po, lalo na po yung mga batang-bata po na nabibiktima po nitong online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. Sa datos po ng inyong kapulisan, since 2019, we were able to receive 378 referrals po, and then we were able to conduct about 250 police operations. Arrests were made, and we were able to file 225 cases against the perpetrators. So our comparative data po, from January to August 2021 last year, meron po tayong 43 cases or 43 operations na kinandak. And for this year po, from January to August 2022, meron po tayong 29 operations that were conducted by your PNP. We were able to file a case last year from January to August 2021, 25 cases po. And for this year, out of the operations we conducted, we were able to file 20 cases for the complaints we received from January to August 2022. For the cases solved po na nagawa namin from January to August 2021, we were able to solve 11 cases po. And this year, from January to August 2022, 4 na po yung nasosolve po namin. And for the number of cases cleared last year, 25. And for this year, 20 po. On the conviction po, since 2016, since we started po yung atin pong operation against child abuse and trafficking, we were able to convict 71 po na mga suspects, and yung iba po ay ongoing pa po ang trial. So, other than that, ang inyo pong kapulisan ay handa po to bring awareness to everyone in the community about the ill effects po nitong child abuse and exploitation. And then, we will also organize all sectors in the community to help us by mobilizing everyone po. So, ito pong gathering na ito is napakaganda pong umpisa na kung saan lahat po tayo ay hinihikayat na magtulong-tulong po para po sa future nga ng ating mga kabataan. Maraming salamat po.
Lastly, IACAT Head, Justice Undersecretary Nicholas T.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. As we all know, the Interagency Council Against Trafficking was created by the original Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, or RA 9208, to coordinate the different agencies in the fight against human trafficking. Online sexual abuse and exploitation of children is a subspecies of human trafficking. The chairperson of the IACAT is Secretary Remulla. The co-chairperson is Secretary Tulfo. They have expressed most of the things that IACAT wants to express. But we just want to take this opportunity to once again thank the national government for this opportunity wherein this problem of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children can be given more light and solutions to this problem can be considered. At the same time, we'd like to express our appreciation to the administration of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte as well as the administration of PBBM for the passage of two key pieces of legislation in this fight against online sexual abuse and exploitation of children and trafficking in persons. These are Republic Act 11862, which further amendment the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, as well as RA 11930, or the Anti-Online Sexual Abuse and Exploitation of Children Act. So with these new pieces of legislation, we believe that IACAT is in a better position to fight OSAEC as well as other forms of trafficking. Thank you.
We are now opening the floor for questions related to online sexual exploitation of children. Marisol Halili, TV5.
Hi, magandang hapon po. Secretary Abalos, you have presented earlier figures of cases of child pornography, and we can see an upward trend since 2016 up to 2022. Number one, where can we attribute the continuous increase of cases in the Philippines?
We just came from a pandemic, no? Remember, this kind of a crime, sabi nga nila, is that you could just do it in a bedroom, you could do it in a room, with a camera, with no witnesses, just a child who's very innocent. So easy to do it. Alam naman natin, during pandemic talagang medyo marami naghirap, maraming walang trabaho. No? We cannot tell kung ano talagang reason nila. Pero it could be one of the factors kung bakit tumaas ito. But what is important right now is that we're going to put a stop to all of this. We're going to show them that government is really serious about stopping them. Talagang nakakaisa lahat. May kanya-kanya specialty. Kami sa DILG, we're with the LGUs. LGUs means, the ILG is the interior. Interior is the police, the BFP, the fire, no, and the jail, and the women, the Commission on Women, on Youth, and Muslims. And G is for governance, over governors pababa. So imagine all LGUs gagalaw dito. Of course, you have got the DSWD with the social welfare. And not only that, Ivan, itong expert namin sa technology, dahil kailangan namin talagang mahuli ang lahat na ito through this technology. And of course, andito ang prosecution arm namin, ng DOJ. Ito talaga mag-collate lahat ng kaso. Not mentioning the fact that we have our friends from the United Nations, si Ambassador Nikki, and of course, Mr. Navalta of the Homeland, no? Importante yon dahil sa abroad, hindi ko na babanggitin pangalan niya. I've talked with the mayor sa isang probinsya. Ang laking tulong na nakatulong sa kanya ang Homeland. Nahuli nila. No? Pero ito sinasabi niya sa akin, alam mo, Benar, ang masaklap, nung nahuli namin, pinuntahan ako ng magulang eh. Sabi sa akin, sino na magbibigay buwan-buwan ng pera sa amin? I think they're getting 20,000 or 30 a month. Sino na magbibigay? Galit pa yung magulang doon sa mayor at nahuli yung tao. Imagine that. Kaya tama ang sinasabi ni Secretary Erwin na baka iniisip ng tao dahil it's just a camera, wala namang nangyayari, kinukunan, etc. Pero hindi, mali. Bata ito eh. No? Yung panghihiya sa bata hanggang kalakihan niya yan. These are things na talagang di mo ramdam, pero paglaki niya, yung kahihiyan sa batang ito. So sana mamulat po tayo lahat dito, no? So yun lang po. What is important here is that nakakaisa kami rito, ang galing ng NBI, no? Ang PNP nandyan. So the whole department, pag kinalaman, full force po kami rito. Thank you.
Thank you, Sec. Yusek, you have mentioned earlier na kailangan ni-amend yung ating law on child pornography. What particular provisions must be amended?
Amended na siya. Yun anti-OSAEC law effectively amended the anti-child pornography law.
Ano po yung binago doon?
Madaming
Yung mas
binago, no?
stricter.
Tingin ko yung pinaka-importanting amendment dyan ay yung pag-identify ng OSAEC as its own crime, giving it its own definition, broadening the scope of OSAEC to cover those developments in child pornography that were that came about because of changes in technology.
Thank you, sir.
Kat Domingo, ABS-CBN.
Good afternoon, sirs and ma'ams. For the cabinet secretaries, do we have data if there are particular hotspots in the Philippines that produce these illegal content? And do we also have data on which nationalities are the biggest consumers of these types of content?
Actually, we tried to trace this before. Kung iilaw yung buong mapa ng Pilipinas, no, kung may ilaw sa bawat lugar, buong Pilipinas meron eh. So, across all regions nangyayari ito. It's happening everywhere. Tapos, ano yung isa pa?
Sir, yung nationalities na top consumers.
Nationalities, wag na natin pag-usapan ngayon yung nationalities. Better that way, no? Kasi baka mamaya sabihin na nag-ano tayo sa we're singling out some nationalities.
Secretary, even if kahit regional lang po, is it European, American, Australian, Asian?
A lot of European participation here.
Second question po for Representative Teodoro. Ma'am, what seems to be the problem? What do you think is the biggest reason why the problem exacerbated despite the fact that a law was already passed more than a decade ago?
Several things. One is because it's easy to come to the country, don't need a visa. Two, lockdown played a big part of parents actually, may I say, prostituting their children online, marketing their children online for profit. Then, the fact that it's easy to put up a site, you put one, you can have 10 at the same time. So it's technology that's made it easier for these perpetrators to market their children or our children. And it's gotten easier and it's gotten more lucrative. So the lockdown played a big part, and now we have to play a bigger part in protecting our children by reporting it immediately. As you see in this panel, we're covering all bases. We're complete in this panel, so we're covering all bases.
Last question for Mai and for Secretary Uy. What is the DICT doing to address the problem? Will it only be a matter of blocking certain IP addresses, certain websites, or is the problem so pervasive that you have to monitor, let's say, Facebook marketplaces or even chat groups and apps?
Actually, we're doing everything. We're covering all aspects, whether it's social media, whether yes, and also how they're marketing it on websites, and at the same time tracing the following the money trail, because these all go to a central payment group that actually collects this money. So, but most of these are located abroad. So we're working with AMLA. We're working with our international partners to locate really where the payments are being made, and then once we track them, then we work with these international agencies on how to stop the money flow. So long as there is demand, the supply always comes up, no? It's a similar issue with drugs. Hanggat may demand. So we tackle it all sides. We work with our international partners to cut off the demand, but at the same time, we here on the supply side have to make sure that we do not provide easy access to that supply. Because DICT is tasked to provide connectivity to all areas, we are detecting that the more connectivity we provide, the more opportunities arise, no? And the opportunities can be for good or for bad. They are able, because of connectivity, they're able to engage in better e-commerce. They're able to do better communications. But the criminals also exploit that connectivity, that access to the people. So we also have to push for better online education as the content once we deploy more connectivity. Not only making them aware, protecting themselves against cybercrime, but also educating them on the detrimental effect of child exploitation using this medium.
Next question, Celerina Monte.
Good afternoon. I just want to clarify some of the resource speakers mentioned that the Philippines is number one in this problem, online exploitation, sex abuse. May we know which study are you referring to and kailan yung study na yon? Yung basis ko nun.
Ano yan, that's data called from different international agencies. Actually, ano to, alam na ng buong mundo to halos eh. The law enforcement agencies around the world know this, that tayo talaga ang favorite place ng mga ganito, these perverts who like exploiting the children. Ano yan? It's not a source of pride, it's a source of shame. That's why we want to end this. Dapat tumigil na to. Payment systems, anti-money laundering will be there against you. Telcos, we expect you to put the filters so that many of these transactions do not happen. And if there are people who do not cooperate but have an indirect or indirect participation, we will not hesitate to charge anybody who helped perpetuate a crime of this nature. We will not hesitate to prosecute anybody who cooperates directly or indirectly in this nature. Tandaan natin, no? What will deter people para umiwas ang tao sa ganitong gawain yung isang bagay lang, no? Certainty of punishment, na sila'y mahuhuli at sila'y parurusahan. And we will make sure of that. That's why we are here together. This is a statement we're making, and for those who will insist on doing their old ways of exploiting our children in this heinous manner, well, we're here to punish you. We will not allow this to go on further.
Sir, since when po number one ang Philippines, and during the previous administration, the Duterte administration really focused on war on drugs. So this time,
Prior to the pandemic,
are you saying that the Marcos administration will be declaring a war on this online sexual abuse and exploitation of
yes,
children?
we are declaring a war on this. So kaya magkakasama kami dito ngayon sa kwartong ito. Lahat na ng pwedeng gawin ng bansa para dito. 100% of law enforcement is here, as well as 100% of jails and correction facilities are here. The BJMP and the Bucor under us are here to make sure that we have reserved a place for those who insist on doing what they do. No? So law enforcement and jail is here with us, as well as the people, the DICT, the NBI, the PNP, their cybercrime units are here. Will be there for anybody who still will insist on perpetuating this crime.
Last question on my part.
Si Sec Tulfo will answer your question also.
Let's add into that, ma'am. This problem has been ongoing. Unfortunately, the focus was on pandemic for the past 2 years. Yung mga lockdowns and all in the news. Now it's in the media too. Nakafocus tayo sa pandemic. We focused on war on drugs. We focused on graft and corruption. We left out, us in the media, itong child pornography, sex exploitation. But it has been going on. Yung mga investigative programs sa TV, they've been dealing this. As a matter of fact, ABS-CBN before was already dealing this 10 years ago, before they were shut down. TV5 was dealing with this because I was part of it, that program. So matagal na itong problema, hindi lang na-address because we are so busy with other problems. Yun nga, pandemic, then war on drugs, meron pa tayong terrorism sa Mindanao, and then we have graft and corruption. Ito yung mga issues na natatabunan siya. Pero it has been there, and it's a big problem, pero hindi nabibigyan ng pansin. Kaya right now, this administration is keen and very serious in stopping this So tama si Secretary Rimulya, tama si Secretary Abalos, and everybody here in this room. We are declaring war against this, and this is the time now and here.
Last question. Do you have any like estimate or can you quantify like how big is this quote unquote industry in the Philippines?
Well, for it to be number one, malaki ito in the world. Just imagine, kano tayo kaliit na bansa. Diba? Just imagine the problem here right now. At ito yung mga batang walang kalaban-laban. Kaya yun nakakagalit dito. No? So, di ba, basta this is now a statement. On this day, we're going to make a statement.
Quantify.
Yeah. Quantify, well, it's hard to give numbers. It's hard to give numbers right now. But the mere fact we're number one, that speaks for itself.
Next question, Vince Lopez, Manila Standard.
For DOJ Secretary Remulla, good afternoon po. Knowing the severity po of the child sexual exploitation here in the Philippines, will the Justice Department consider the sexual exploitation for children be a part of the heinous crimes?
It is a heinous crime. It is a heinous crime, and we have a cyber unit in the DOJ to really take care of this. We have at least 2 task forces that are organized for this purpose, and we've actually early in July we met about this already. I met with the NBI already about this matter early in July. So we've been quietly organizing. So this announcement is just there because I had a discussion with Secretary Abalos and Secretary Tulfo and Secretary Ivan, and we said that it's better that we have a common front and we have a one concerted effort together. Talagang dapat talaga wakasan na to. We have to stop this. We have to stop this.
For DICT Sec, Sec, good afternoon din po. Makikipag-coordinate po ba ang DICT sa National Intelligence Coordinating Agency to locate these mga locations na may child exploitations na nangyayari?
Actually, we're coordinating with all the agencies po, as well as the telcos. Because the telcos dyan po ang gateway, no, na pumapasok nun. So all, but the DICT itself has its capabilities to do this. So NICA would probably be dealing more with the national security issues instead of criminal investigation. But we share data because some of them there are resources that are available on the different agencies that can be utilized in order to track down these offenders. Thank you.
Jinky Baticados, IBC 13.
Good afternoon po, ladies and gentlemen. Ang tanong ko maaring sagutin ng kahit na sino pong secretary. Sinabi natin that we are on war on this one po. So, alam din natin, sabi ni Secretary Erwin kanina, that this has been a long problem na sinusolve po natin. Meron po ba tayong bagong strategy or approach na maaari nating gawin to actually help solve this crime? Maliban doon sa ginagawa na natin noon pa man.
I think this the new thing about this is the comprehensive approach to it. AMLA is there. The DICT is here. We are asking the telcos to put the filters into their systems. We're not leaving any stone unturned. This comprehensive approach, I think the new thing about it, this comprehensive approach is the one that will get things done.
Sir, meron po bang marching orders sa inyo si Presidente para ma-curb ito? Binigyan ba tayo ng somehow mandate or hanggang kailan?
Understood na to eh. This was prior to our going into office in June 30. This was discussed before already.
Thank you, Secretary. One na lang, Dale. From the Homeland Security, Manila Attaché, sir, I just would like to ask if somehow, aside from the monitoring and your tracking in helping this country to solve this kind of problem, do you have any particular help to extend to the Philippines for this particular solving of crime?
Absolutely. I think that this is a global problem, and I think that all countries that can come in and participate in this is going to be a very big opportunity for us to really make an impact. We obviously in 2018, 2019, prior to the pandemic, U.S. Homeland Security has a program called iGuardian. And if you go back and you look, you'll find that in General Santos City, we put on an outreach program to over 2,000 students, parents, teachers, educating them on the dangers of the internet. There are a lot of different things that also will assist us in this, and such things as the U.S. has the PROTECT Act of 2003. The PROTECT Act of 2003 basically says that a U.S. citizen that engages in child exploitation anywhere in the world can be held accountable in the United States. That law itself allows us to work alongside our partners here in the Philippines to not only catch the offenders here who are creating the content, but also go back to our country and put handcuffs on them there and arrest them and prosecute them there for the crimes that they committed here. So I think that we will have, a lot of programs that will create some of the best practices that we can have in order to combat this here, not only in the Philippines, but globally. That's the impact that this will have, and this working group will give to the world in focusing in that area.
Thank you, sir.
Last question for the panel from Nel Maribojo and UNTV.
Good afternoon po. Anyone po kung sino po dun sa cabinet secretaries. Will you support any proposal regarding the social media registration to effectively track down personalities engaged on or participation in online exploitation? Social media registration. Will you push or support any proposal on that?
There was a law that was passed which required some kind of registration before, that was vetoed by President Rodrigo Duterte. So there is no law. In order to require online legislation, there has to be a law, because otherwise the Constitution guarantees free speech. So right now, there is no requirement of any online registration. This is without prejudice to any rules pertaining to the various agencies like the DILG and the DOJ, pursuant to whatever directive they will be given law enforcement.
Thank you.
Before we continue with the briefing of Press Secretary Trixie Angeles, may we ask Secretary of Justice Boying Remulla for his closing statement?
Nais po namin magpasalamat sa inyo lahat sa pagkakataong ito, at sana magtulungan po tayo na wakasan itong madilim na yugto ng ating kasaysayan na bilang mga Pilipino. Magtulungan po tayo na wakasan po ito. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
We are now opening few questions for Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles. Eden Santos, Net 25.
Maulang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Regarding lang po dun sa kung ano bang ginagawa ng paghahanda ngayon ng DSWD dito po sa Bagyong Florita, especially po dun sa relief operations and evacuations, pwede rin po si Secretary Benher Avalos. Thank you po.
Madam, bago po isagot ni Sec Erwin, magpapaalam na po ang ating mga panauhin. So, okay. Maraming salamat, Sec Boy. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Nikki.
Yung mga telecommunications, kailangan magtayin namin.
Nag-message sa akin, sabi ko, okay, confirm. Okay, maraming salamat, Sec Ivan. Sec Benhar. Ay, dito po pala si Sec. Dito. Okay. Alright, Sec Erwin, please.
Yeah. Naka-preposition na ho kasi mga food packs ho natin sa mga regional offices, Region 1 and Region 2. And then, ibinaba na rin po sa mga satellite offices namin, dyan po sa Vigan. yung ilang pong LGUs natin from Ilocos Norte, sinundo na po yung mga food packs nila kasi may transportation po sila. Hindi naman po namin kayang dalhin bawat bayan nila. So, napadalhan na po. Pero kanina, na-serve na po namin yung mga residente po, yung ilang mga evacuees, pero nakauwi na ho eh. As reported to me right around 12 noon, nakauwi na ho yung karamihan. Pati yung dalawang family ho, nakauwi na rin dito sa Ilocos Norte. Pero gayon pa man, natira na po sila ng pagkain. We are closely monitoring po itong Region 2, itong Isabela na currently binabayo po ng signal number 3 ng bagyo. So doon po nakabantay ho tayo. We have alerted all our regional offices sa CAR, Region 1, Region 2, and Region 3 are on standby now. Just in case kailangan po ng tulong, aakyat po. Ganun ho ginawa na natin ngayon. May clustering po tayo ng mga regions. So, lahat po ng regions sa Luzon, magtutulong-tulong po yung pinakamalapit, mag-aayuda. Like what we did in Abra, ng Lilindol pong Abra, Field Office 1, Region 1 and Region 2, nagdala po ng ayuda. Pero so far right now, yung buong region ng ito pong Luzon cluster are on standby, naka-ready. Lalong-lalo na po yung National Resource Operation Center namin, yung pinaka-warehouse po namin sa Pasay, naka-ready na rin ho. Pero don't worry ho, we have sufficient, we have over 100,000 food boxes po na naka-standby lang po sa amin sa Regions 1 and 2. In Region 1 po, dyan sa Ilocos region, meron po kaming 20 to 25 million po na AICS, Assistance for Individual in Crisis, naka-ready din ho. So, nakabantay ho kami. Evacuations, ganun din, mga evacuation sites naka-ready na rin with the help of the with the local government units. Kasi ang mangyayari ho dito, ma'am, usually, ang napag-usapan ho dito, ay ang pinaka first responders po ay LGU. They'll be the first one to feed yung kanila pong constituents. Wow, but we can come in anytime kung if they ask for assistance, sasabihin nila medyo pag 4th class municipality o 5th class hindi po nila kaya, then papasok po kami. Kaya ho, naka-standby din ho lagi ang instruction ko sa mga regional directors para pwede po kaming mag-augment. Kung hindi man po mag-augment, kami mismo ang pupunta na doon sa area para tulungan po sila mapakain po yung mga kababayan natin, ma'am.
Sir, kasi we heard, bago pa man po ito, di ba, ito na yung binabanggit ng Pangulong BBM na pinangangambahan niya na yung nilindol na mga lugar, special sa Abra, is kabilang po doon sa mga lugar ngayon na dadaanan ng bagyo, if I'm not mistaken. So yung pong flash flood and landslide ay nagbabadya po yan. Meron po bang ginagawang hakbang ang DILG sa pamagitan po ng mga LGUs, mga official, mga local executives, para naman po maiwasan na magkaroon pa ng mga mas malalang insidente po ng flash flood and landslide?
Well, actually, na-foresee na po ito noon. Kamukha na sinabi ng Presidente. Kanina ho, galing kami sa cabinet meeting. Ito nga ang binili niya. So in short, talagang naka-monitor, naka-identify na po ang mga evacuation centers dito. And just like Secretary of DSWD, we are in constant touch with our local government unit partners na nasa baba po. Lahat naman po ito, may in place na po itong mga gagawin po rito. Of course, andyan na yung pagkain, andyan na yung tubig, lahat po iyan, nakahanda na rin. Monitor po namin hanggang mamaya. Add ko lang pala yung kanila lang, ngayon ko lang pinakuha yung topic, just so makasigurado lang ako yung topic natin kanina. Kasi it's about child pornography, child trafficking. But on the lighter side naman, yung basta pag-usapan yung trafficking as a whole, hindi child trafficking, the Philippines is number 1 in the tier 1. Ibig sabihin ng tier 1, isa sa pinaka maganda ito. For the 7th consecutive year, the country maintained the top classification on tier 1 ranking in the annual report of the State Department of the United States. Okay? According to the State Department, countries and territories under tier 1 have governments that fully meet the minimum standards of the U.S. Trafficking Victims Protection of 2000 in eliminating human trafficking. Bakit ko sinasabi ito? kung nakafocus sa isang bagay, kayang-kaya no? So yung sinasabi nga kanina ni Boying, it's just that ma-focus lang natin to, sigurado matatanggal natin na tong sa child pornography and of course itong child trafficking na ito. Okay? Sige.
Last question, Ivan Mayrina.
Secretary Angeles, ma'am. May we know what came out of the meeting of the President with the newly installed officials of the SRA?
We will be making an announcement later on. He did discuss the ongoing crisis, but that's the extent that we can reveal the details. Remember that these officials just swore in, so immediately after that, he convened the group to apprise them of the situation, get recommendations, and plan a course of action.
Ma'am, may we get the palace statement on the privileged speech of Congressman Libanan, the minority leader? Ang sabi po niya, dapat, in his words, to curtail the cartel, we need a full-time chief executive and a full-time agriculture secretary. Ano po ang masasabi ng palasyo dito?
We have no reaction to that. There are also other questions pertaining to supposedly the testimonies that are being given during the course of the legislative investigation. We will not comment on those as well because it is in the hands of the committee or the legislature which is conducting the investigation. We'll wait for it to complete the investigation.
As to the raids in warehouses, inaasahan po ba natin magpapatuloy ang mga ito?
Yes, patuloy po.
Thank you very much.
By the way, they're the exercise of visitorial powers.
Exercise of visitorial powers. That is noted. Thank you, Secretary.
Maraming salamat, Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles, DILG Secretary Benher Abalos, and DSWD Secretary Erwin
Maraming
Tulfo.
I like it, I love it, I want some more.